Ryan from Francis and Gay is a legend. Look what's just arrived. It is their new limited edition Seiko Alpinist GMT, the SPB 409J1, and I just bit the inside of my mouth. I just can't contain my excitement. I've taken it out the cardboard box, but I haven't had a look at this thing yet. I can't wait to see it. It looks gorgeous. I've got to say a big thank you to Adam as well in the marketing department at Seiko, because he's been trying to source one of these watches for me as well. He's still trying to get hold of a couple of other watches for me, which I'm hoping to show you on the channel very, very soon. But yeah, I can't wait to see this thing. So I'm heading straight over to the light box to show you this gorgeous new release by Seiko. Right, let's not waste any more time. Let's get into this new release. And I'm really pleased to see that the packaging is a little bit more premium than the standard Seiko packaging. It is obviously a Prospex watch. It's called the Laurel. It's celebrating 110 years of Seiko. And yeah, the Laurel was the first watch created by Seiko, although I don't think the company was actually called Seiko back in 1913. And the original watch was famous for having a sort of red mark or a red marker at the 12 o'clock. So that is why the Laurel limited editions have that red accent on the dial. Sorry, I'm waffling. I find it hard to do two things at once, being a man, unbox and talk to you guys. Again, just a massive thank you to Ryan and Francis and Gay for sourcing this watch for me. And oh, there it is. Ooh, nice. It looks so good. Oh man, yeah, as soon as I saw this watch I knew I was going to like it. I love watches with 3, 6, 9, 12 markers on the dial. I've struggled to find a new Alpinist that I have bonded with as well as I have the original Saab 017, which I've got, but this could be it. Will I be sending this watch back? That's the question I'm going to be asking myself during this unboxing process, and I will be putting lots of facts, figures, stats and specifications in the video description, because I suspect I'm going to struggle to remember everything I need to about this watch in order to provide you with all the information you guys need to know to decide whether or not it's a watch for you. I'm just going to silent my mobile. Bear with me just one moment. Wow. Yeah, that dial is gorgeous. I just think the whole watch is gorgeous, isn't it? Just look at it. Yeah, I think they've nailed it. Absolutely nailed it. I think it's one of the prettiest watches I've ever seen. Love it. Absolutely love it. I do have a thing for Seiko watches, and in particular watches at the moment with light coloured or white silvery dials like this. I have reviewed one of their newer dive watches, which had this circular date window in this position, which I really liked. Yeah, there's nothing about this watch I'm seeing at the moment that is a turn off. So I'm just going to take a few more bits of plastic off. Right, there we go. I've taken off as much plastic as I can. I've left a little bit on the clasp and also the sticker on the case back as well, just in case I end up sending this watch back, which at the moment I'm 50-50 on, because well, this watch in the UK retails for £1,290. This is not a cheap watch. You are paying a bit of a premium because it is a limited edition watch, limited to 3,000 units globally. They've also used a sort of upgraded GMT movement over the NH34. It's the 6R54. Still beats at 21,600 beats per hour. I'll put it on the time graph in a minute, but it has a larger power reserve, 72 hours of power reserve, stated accuracy plus 25, minus 15 seconds a day, 24 joules. Hacking, hand wind, yeah, I'll have a little play with the movement in a moment. Obviously a date complication there, which I've already mentioned. This particular movement is not a traveler's GMT. It's not a true GMT movement. It's still an office GMT movement, like the NH34. They do make a 6R64, I believe it is, which is an upgraded GMT movement to this one, which is a true traveler's GMT. And yeah, I'm trying to get hold of a watch with that movement in it, just so that I can review it, because I'm curious to see yeah, different watches with different movements in them. So this is the first watch I've ever handled with this particular movement in it, the 6R54. And yeah, I'll show you the case back in a moment, but I just want to focus again on the way this thing looks. Gorgeous dial. I mean, the Alpinist range of watches has always been a really, really good looking range of watches, but this thing just looks incredible. Right, let's have a little fiddle. 200 meters of water resistance with this watch, by the way, which is impressive, isn't it? That is not a screw down crown. That's obviously for the internal bezel there, which is, yeah, it is a compass bezel, of course. So screw down crown at the 3 o'clock. Let's put some power into this 6R54. And let's then advance the hands so that the hands are well within the lower half of the face. Let's push the crown back in. There we go. We're now in the first position and we're changing the date. Nice. Now let's advance the GMT hand. That is advancing forward. You can't reverse it, obviously. If you turn the crown the other way, look, it still does the date. So you can only advance the GMT hand, and that's why this is an office GMT. Traveler's GMT movements, you have a quick set or a jumping hour hand. You can move that forwards and backwards. I reviewed a watch recently, actually, with a true GMT movement inside it. It was a Vario with the Miyota 9075. So if you're interested in that video, yeah, once you've finished watching this, head over to that. I'll put a link to that video in the video description. Yeah, screw down crown, screw down case back. Beautifully finished by the looks of it. I'm going to take some macro shots. That transition actually looks very nice from what I can tell. Those applied indices in numerals look nice and bright. The brushing on the dial is a sunburst effect, so it's radiating out from the center of the dial. One thing I'm pleased about is the date complication doesn't sit too deeply inside the watch, which I've seen before on Seiko watches. Obviously the alignment of the outside bezel is fixed. You can't move that, and it looks pretty well lined up. And the alignment of the internal bezel is down to you. And this crown, you can't lock it, so you're probably going to knock it persistently and keep moving that red triangle at the 12 o'clock, which is a sort of signature element to this watch, referencing back to the original Laurel, Seiko's first ever watch. I'll show the lume degrading at the end of the video as well. Let's have a look at the crystal. Single domed sapphire crystal with AR coating. You can see that blue hue, a very nice piece of crystal. It sits slightly above the bezel, doesn't it? A beautifully polished bezel on the underside, look, and then circular brushing on that GMT bezel. And there's the case back. You've got some specifications around the outside. Although there isn't a sort of dedicated, unique reference number for this particular watch, because they're limiting this to 3,000 units globally. You've got 370724 at the bottom there. So this is watch number 724 off the production line, which you could sort of use as a unique number for this watch. But yeah, it was made in July 2023. Now, before I pop it on the wrist, I just want to quickly have a look at this strap. It's very nice and soft and supple. Yeah, really soft and supple, actually. I'm not wild about these buckles, because you end up with the tail of the strap on the inside of your wrist. They sort of feel a little bit like they're upside down to me, these straps. I've experienced watches from Seiko before with these straps, and yeah, I'm not a fan of them personally. I like the more traditional straps, the traditional two-piece straps, where you end up with this piece on the underside of the watch, and obviously the tail wraps around to the outside of your wrist. I guess that's a fairly personal thing, but yeah, it seems to be nicely finished. The buckles are nice enough. I'm not sure I'm going to be parting with £1,290 for this watch. I'm still 50-50, to be honest, which means I'm probably going to be sending it back. Yeah, I'm very impressed with it. I love it, love the way it looks, and I suspect if I do send it back, I'll have returner's remorse. Is that a thing? I don't know. I still haven't decided. Let me take some macro shots, and you've probably seen those already. I'll take the macro shots after I've filmed this part of the video. So I'll take some macro shots. I'll enjoy this watch for the next hour or so. Then I'm going to have to decide, am I sending it back today or not? What do you think? Did I send it back or did I keep it?